Hello, good evening, everybody. What's going on? This is Tiffany. I'm coming through right here, live in effect. So tonight I will be dealing with the topic about the Delta Sigma Theta. Today is their Founders Day, which was founded on January the 13th, 1913 at Howard University. So they are a sorority organization and they are well deserved. They should be recognized for as a sorority organization. So on here, I look at a lot of history, African American history, and African history throughout the diaspora, and also I look at the history of those in the sorority and the fraternity. So just the other day, I did the one about the Alpha. I think it was Alpha Phi Sigma. I think that's the name of the organization. So now I'm doing the one about Delta Sigma Theta. All right. So who was the Delta Sigma Theta? So let's look at who the founders were. All right. So these are the founders. Okay. I know you guys can barely see that, but here is the pictures of the founders. I would say the name Ursula Adams, Margaret Alexander, Winola Alexander, Ethel Black, Bertha Campbell, Zephora Carter, Edna Coleman, Jesse Dent, Frederica Dodd, Myra Hennings, Olivia Jones, Jimmy Middleton, Paul Miner, Vashiti Murphy, Naomi Richardson, Mamie Rose, Eliza Shippen, Florence Toms, Ethel Watson, Warranty Weaver, Madre White, and Edith Young. So in total, there was over 22 women who helped founded this organization that is known today as Delta Sigma. All right. So I'm gonna read more into details about them. So let's go ahead and look at the biography. All right. So let's look at the biography. All right. Here's the biography. All right. So who is Delta Sigma Theta? So, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporation is a historically African American Greek letter sorority. The organization was founded by college educated women dedicated to public service with emphasis on programs that assist the African American community. Delta Sigma Theta was founded on January 13, 1913, by 22 women at Howard University in Washington, D.C. It seems like Howard University is the foundation of majority of the sorority and fraternity organization. That's what it seems like. But let's go ahead and continue. Membership is open to any woman who meets the requirement, regardless of religion, race, or nationality. Women may join through undergraduate chapters at a college or university or through an alumni chapter after earning a college degree. Okay. One of the largest sororities founded in the U.S., the more than 300,000 initiate members are mostly college-educated women. The sorority currently has over 940 chapters located in the Bahamas, Bermuda, Canada, England, Germany, Jamaica, Japan, Liberia, South Korea, and the United States. Delta Sigma Theta is also a member of the umbrella organization National Pan-Hellenic Council, an organization of 9 international Black Greek letter sororities and fraternities. The current 26th national president is Dr. Beverly Evans Smith. All right. So as you can see right here, this is a picture of the earliest Delta Sigma Theta. All right. Here's some more image. African violet is one of Delta Sigma Theta's recognized symbol. All right, here's the chapter. Okay, we're going to go into all of that, but I just want to stop right here. All right, anyways. So the first public act of Delta Sigma Theta was participating in the women's suffrage march in Washington, D.C. on March the 3rd, 1913. Today is the largest African-American Greek-led organization since its founding. Delta Sigma Theta has created programming to improve political education and social and economic condition, particularly with the Black communities. In addition to establishing independent programming, the sorority consistently collaborates with community organization and cooperation to further its programming goals. The sorority reached a centennial year by being the first Black Greek-led organization to participate in the Tournament of Roses Parade in Pasadena, California on January 1st, 2013 with a float entitled Transforming Communities Through Sisterhood and Service. All right. So, of course, I mentioned it was founded on the 13th of 1913 in January. And it was incorporated by it was founded by 22 women at Howard University, some who had earlier been initiated into the Alpha chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, including the elected officers of Alpha Kappa Alpha. Myra Davis Hennings, President Ethel Cuff Black, Vice President Edith Modi Young, Secretary Jesse McGuire Dent, Correspondent Secretary Wanola Cargio Alexander, Custodian Frederica Chase Dodd, Sergeant at Arms, and Pauline Oberdorfer Minor, Treasurer. The 22 were dismayed at the lack of progress of Alpha Kappa Alpha to move beyond its function of orchestrating the affairs of campus society at Howard and wanted to reorganize the sorority to address a variety of purposes like public service and women's advancement. The new initiates want to establish a national organization, enlarge the scope of the sorority's activities, and change the sorority name to reflect a new purpose. They felt Alpha Kappa Alpha was solely a female derivative of the Beta chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity with no individual meaning and were not Greek distinctive letters. They also wanted to change the symbols, change the sorority colors, and be more politically oriented. In 1912, they voted to change the organization name to Delta Sigma Theta. This new name was to reflect the group's desire to change the direction of the group and change in the philosophical underpinnings. The members of the new organization sought to move towards social activism and greater public service rather than continue to focus on social activities. According to Delta Sigma Theta's historian Paula Giddings, the 22 young women were concerned that since Alpha Kappa Alpha was not incorporated, there was no legal entity. Since there was no charter, there was no authority to form other chapters, thus limiting their ability to enlarge the scope of activities. All right, so basically what it was is that the members, some of the members were already part of the AKA organization. And because they were not pleased with the AKA organization and how the direction was going, they decided that, okay, well, it's time that we start our own chapter and create our own organization that's focusing more on political issues and community service instead of social service and whatnot. So that's when the Delta Sigma Theta came about. So it was some of the members that were formerly AKAs that transitioned over to becoming Delta Sigma Thetas. Isn't that interesting? What an interesting story. All right, I will continue. All right, so the undergraduate members pushed to establish a national organization to engage in activities that were national in scope to change the sorority names and symbol as well as to be more politically oriented. Caused conflict between one alumni member who wished to keep the previous name and functional status quo, and the remaining collegiate Alpha chapter members who voted to change the name of Alpha Kappa Alpha to Delta Sigma Theta sorority. When the graduate member, Nile Quander, was informed about some of the students' desire to change the sorority names, color, and constitution, she disagreed and gave the students a deadline to stop the effort to reorganize the sorority. The women declined and unanimously voted to reorganize even prior to Delta Sigma Theta being approved by Howard University administration. Thus, Delta Sigma Theta was founded on January 13, 1913. The new sorority was officially incorporated in 1930, making Delta the second sorority composed of undergraduate African American women to apply to the trustees of any university for the right to become an incorporated body. On January 20th, 1930, the organization Grand Chapter was nationally incorporated. Delta Sigma Theta was the one of the African American organizations to participate in the women's suffrage march on March the 3rd, 1913. Okay, I read that before. Okay, so down here said development of infrastructure and programming of 1914 and 1930. Immediately following the founding Delta Sigma Theta, members quickly mobilized to build and develop infrastructure and implement programming. One of the first orders of business was to have an oath, which was written by Mary Church Terrell in 1914. In the early years, individual chapters would implement various programs to meet the needs of their local communities. The 1920s began a decade of significant development within Delta Sigma Theta. The organization began to develop uniformity in programming and communication between the chapters of the sorority. In the 1920, May Week was inaugurated and the official publication of the sorority was established as the Delta. Also in 1920, Omega Chapter was established to recognize deceased seniors, and Sade T.M. Alexander was voted first honorary grand president of Delta Sigma Theta. The official Delta Sigma Theta hymn, written by Florence Cole Talbrick and Alice Dunbar Nelson, was adopted in 1924. Regions were established in 1925, and the Jabberwock was established as the scholarship fundraiser. The Scholarship and Standards Committee was established in 1929, and the organization was incorporated as a perpetual body on February 17, 1930. All right, so let's go ahead and let's read this part. The program expansion in 1931, 1955. The incorporation of the sorority allowed for Delta Sigma Theta to improve expansion of chapters. Prior to incorporation as a perpetual body, new chapters were required to seek individual charters locally. However, with the national organization incorporated, chartering chapters became easier on regional leadership. The National Library Project was established in 1937 to provide access to books for Blacks in rural areas in the South, where either no libraries were located or they were not accessible to Blacks. The National Victory Book Drive occurred in 1943 to provide books to servicemen. In 1945, Delta Sigma Theta donated its first 1,000 to the United Negro Fund. Also in 1945, Delta Sigma Theta, along with Alpha Phi Alpha, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Zeta Phi Beta, and Sigma Gamma Rho, established the American Council on Human Rights, which had the goal to mobilize the influence and resources of its members in the struggle for justice and equal opportunity for all U.S. citizens. All right. While there were many struggles for minorities and women within the United States, Delta leadership also recognized the great struggle others of African descent faced around the world, which led to the establishment of the first foreign chapter in Port-au-Prince, Haiti in 1950. All right. And so I'm going to skip down to what says Delta had the dedication of its first national headquarters. In continuing with assisting persons in need abroad, Delta established the maternity ward at Theta Memorial Hospital in 1955. All right. And so it says further programs focus on women's and civil rights, 1956 to 1970. All right. Delta has previously moved towards having some uniformity of programming among chapters with two international programs abroad. As it began its fifth decade of existing, the organization wants to ensure that all chapters will focus their programming around one national centralized theme. Thus, the 5-point thrust was implemented in 1956 by 10th National President Dorothy Height. The 5-point thrust is the 5 areas under which all Delta programming falls. The thrusts are educational development, economic development, physical and mental health, political awareness and involvement, and international awareness and involvement. In 1960, Delta co-sponsored the National Organization of Women for Equality in Education Conference. In 1963, while celebrating their 50th anniversary, Delta participated in the March on Washington and established the Social Action Commission at the 27th National Convention. In 1966, Delta Teen Lift was established and the Delta Sigma Theta Executive Board was received in the White House by President Lyndon B. Johnson to discuss community issues and concern in 1967. In 1968, the Unwed Mother Program was established, and in 1970, Delta sponsored the East African International Women's Seminar in Nairobi, Kenya. So they put in a lot of work. These women were serious about their activism. They put in a lot of work. Okay. So let's go down to where it says call to action in support of women and mothers, 1976 to 1999. All right. In 1976, the 4-2 sculpture was unveiled on the campus of Howard University. 4-2 was originally surveyed as part of the Smithsonian's Safe Outdoor Sculpture Survey in 1993. The sculpture depicts a figure of a woman cut from a thin piece of metal. She wears a sleeveless dress, high heels, and has short, straight hair. She is walking with her proper left arm swinging above her head and her proper right arm behind her back. Back behind her. The sculpture was unveiled on April 28, 1979 at 3:15 p.m. by members of Delta Sigma Theta to honor the founders of the service sorority. The sculpture is described as symbolizing the attributes of strength, courage, hope, wisdom, beauty, and femininity as depicted by the 22 founders of Delta Sigma Theta. In the early 1980s, sorority began holding summits which focused on various issues within the African American community. Delta felt the need to bring attention to issues that affected minorities and women that remain largely ignored in the United States. In 1981, Delta held Summit 1, which focused on issues affecting American women. Summit 2, a call to action in support of single parenting, was held in 1984. The Delta Research and Education Foundation sponsored an international conference in Nassau, Bahamas, entitled Woman to Woman, Single Parenting from a Global Perspective in 1987. In 1989, the School America program was established. All right. So it goes on to say enlarging the scope of national and international program in 1990 to 2000. So with significant scope and depth in the existing programming, Delta members felt the need to establish programming that enlarged the scope and reach of sorority activity. The first Delta Days in the nation's capital was held in 1990 in Washington, D.C. At the event, Delta members met with congressional members to discuss policy that affect minorities and women. In 1992, Delta Sigma Theta became the first African American organization to collaborate with Habitat for Humanity and has built hundreds of houses for those in need. Delta held its summit number 3, preparing young men for manhood. In 1993, in response to alarming dropout and incarceration rate among young men, in 1996, in collaboration with Habitat for Humanity, Delta traveled to Ghana and built 40 homes. Delta adopted the Alade Tambo School for Physically Disabled in South Africa. In that same year, Delta received $1.6 million from NSF for Project C, Science and Everyday Experiences, and traveled to Swaziland, South Africa to break ground for Delta House that would be housing for children who became orphans due to their parents dying from AIDS and HIV, and dedicated the Computer Training Center in Lesotho. In 2002, Delta was the second African American organization after NCNW to receive special consultative NGO status with the United Nations. All right, so I already mentioned the founders, okay? And these are the presidents, all right? So the first president was Sadie Tanner Muzzle Alexander, okay? And the current president is Beverly Evans Smith, all right? And Dorothy Height was the president as well. All right, then. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see her information. Okay, so let's look at a little bit about the participation in the 1913 Women's Suffrage March. So less than 2 months after the sorority's founding, the founders of Delta Sigma Theta, their political activists about participating in the historic 1913 Women's Suffrage March on Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. on March the 3rd, 1913. Okay, it says the 22 founders of Delta Sigma Theta marched with honorary member Mary Church Terrell under the Delta Sigma Theta sorority banner on the day prior to Woodrow Wilson inauguration. The Delta Sigma Theta members and the women from Chicago's Alpha Suffrage Club with Ida B. Wells Barnett were the only Black women organization to walk in the march. The sorority believed that Black women need the right to vote to protect against sexual exploitation, promote quality education, assist in the workforce, and empower their race. Okay. So here's the newspaper. All right. Then goes into a little bit about Black female marchers were subjected to racism not only by people who were opposed to the enfranchisement of women, but by march organizers reluctant to advocate suffrage for Black women. Oh, since 1890, white Democrats of the southern states of the former Confederacy had ratified new state constitutional amendments and passed legislation that effectively disfranchised most Black and many poor white Black women. Marched for the right to vote, reminded many that Black men had also been disfranchised. It says also in those years, Washington was effectively a segregated city in public areas. Mary Church Terrell recounted that she and the Delta Sigma Theta founders had to assemble in areas specifically allocated for Black women. All right, so of course I'm gonna skip some of this. Okay. All right, so let's look at the national headquarters. In 1953, Delta Sigma Theta was the first African American organization to purchase a national headquarters site located at 1814 M Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. In 1972, the sorority moved its headquarters to New Hampshire Avenue Northwest in DuPont Circle. The sorority headquarters is currently located at property located at 1701, 1703, 1705, 1707, and 1709 New Hampshire Avenue, Northwest in the historic DuPont Circle neighborhood, or DuPont, excuse me. In addition to serving as the national headquarters, the buildings house the Delta Research and Education Foundation, national staff and records and equipment systems necessary to conduct Delta Sigma Theta's business. All right. Also, it goes into the region. In 1925, the sorority began to organize its chapter into geographical regions. Initially, it creates four regions: Eastern, Midwest, Far West, and Southern. 7 years later, the Central region was established in 1960. The Mid-Atlantic region was created. North and South Carolina left the Southern region to become part of the new South Atlantic region. Okay. Each of the 7 regions is led by a regional director and a collegiate regional representative who provide a voice for the sorority collective-based members. Regional conferences are held biennially, alternating the years in which national convention are held. All right, so let me show you a map on that. And these are the regions, the 7 regions. Okay, Far Western, Central, Southwest, Southern, South Atlantic, Eastern, okay, and Midwestern. All right. All right, then. All right, so it goes into the program. They have provided assistance to address the challenges faced by people in the United States internationally as well. Over the years, the sorority has established programs to provide and improve education, healthcare, and international development, and strengthen the African American family. Delta Sigma Theta provides public service initiative through the 5-point program thrust. All right, so here's the 5-point program. All right. So the 5-point thrust, Delta Sigma Theta uses the 5-point thrust as an organizing structure as it creates programs to benefit the African American community. The 5-point programming thrust, which was established in 1955 and currently managed by Garland Brooker and Sharon Letterman, includes: first, economic developments, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. All right. Okay. Oops. So here's the symbol of Delta Sigma Theta's torch. All right. All right, so it goes into the economic development, the Delta Challenge, Delta Home Ownership Initiative in 2003, the Delta Challenge DST Home Ownership Initiative was created to assist sorority members, family, friends, and the general public with owning their homes and investing in home ownership. The program is a resource for individuals seeking information about home ownership, wishing to locate a loan representative who partners with the Delta Challenge, information about mortgage, insurance, or other benefits, or who has questions regarding real estate or related financial topics. In 3 years, the program has helped more than 400 families purchase home. The DST Home Ownership Initiative is a partnership between Delta Sigma Theta's 950 chapters, Chase Bank, and Genworth Financial. All right. So let's go down to the education development. This is very interesting. Dr. Betty Shabazz Delta Academy. Dr. Betty Shabazz Delta's Academy, Catching the Dreams of Tomorrow, Preparing Young Women for the 21st Century, is designed for girls ages 11 to 14 who have an interest in developing leadership skills. The program is named in honor of a sorority member, the late Dr. Betty Shabazz, wife of Malcolm X. It is for girls who demonstrate the potential for success, but may not have support system or access to financial resources. Participants are exposed to math, science, technology, and non-traditional careers. The Delta Academy session may also include service learning, activities, field trip, and books clubs. All right. Delta's academy symbol is the dream catcher. In Native American culture, the dream catcher possesses power to capture bad dreams and entangle them into a web. The good dreams pass through the dream hoops, open centers into the person. All right. So that's interesting that they have a school for which is called Delta, which is called Dr. Betty Shabazz Delta Academy. Very interesting. So going down to physical and mental health. So the Total Woman Mind, Body, and Spirit Lifestyle Change Initiative. The Total Woman Mind, Body, and Spirit Lifestyle Change Initiative impacts the well-being of sorority members and members' families and communities at large. The Lifestyle Change Initiative was started in 2004 by the Health Task Force, providing physical and mental health expertise. Some of the program's goals are to educate on importance and benefits of lifestyle changes affect longevity, uh, morbidity, and morality, to identify organizational alliance that work towards address pertinent health issues and to develop and implement health-focused programs. Through the initiative, the sorority is working to combat the high incidence of women's obesity. The program's first component is a challenge to chapter members to achieve and maintain healthier weights. All right. So political awareness and involvement, of course. Delta's Days in the nation's capital in 1989, the National Social Action Commission instituted Delta's Days in the nation's capital. Delta's Days is an annual legislative conference to increase sorority members' involvement in the national public policy making progress. The annual conference includes legislative briefings, issues forums, and developing advocacy skills. Featured speakers include the key policymakers, members of the United States Congress, staff members, and national policy experts. In 2009, Delta Sigma Theta sorority celebrate the 20th anniversary of Delta's Days in nation's capital. The theme was advocacy and action, strengthen our legacy. Topics include empowering membership to be effective social actions advocates in the areas of quality education, affordable health care, census 2010, and economic availability. And orientation for first-time attendees provided how-tos on navigating the legislative process, legislative letter writing, congressional testimony, resolution writing, and coalition building was provided. In addition to Delta's Days in the nation's capital, each state organized annual events in which members discuss and advocate state and local issues with their state legislative bodies. All right, so here's a picture. All right, then. So we're going to look at international awareness and involvement. World AIDS Day, Delta Sigma Theta sorority support the World AIDS campaign in observance of World AIDS Day in December 1st, 2008, with the slogan "Stop AIDS, Keep the Promise." Delta Sigma Theta promotes workshops, program, and information dissemination. Individuals, chapters, and members continue increasing awareness of HIV/AIDS in the community. Okay. All right, so here's the controversy. So the controversy is centered around the hazing incidents that's taking place in the sorority and fraternity organization. So, of course, with any organization comes with problems. All right. So here's the controversy. North Texas rapist in October of 2011, a serial rapist in Dallas area was reported to be targeting Delta Sigma Theta alumni, attacking 4 alumni in their mid-50s to mid-60s over an 11-month period. The sorority issued a release advising its members not to identify affiliation with the sorority via their cards, keychains, clothing, or Facebook posting. The case was featured on the December 9, 2011 episode of America's Most Wanted. As of 2014, no arrest has been made. Notable hazing events at Western Illinois University in January 1999, a Delta pledge was hospitalized due to torn skin on her lower back and buttocks from severe beatings by Delta women. She sued the sorority for an undisclosed amount. At Norfolk State University in February 1999, a Delta pledge was hospitalized in an intensive care unit after a series of physical beatings and strenuous activities. 9 sorority members, 2 of whom were about to graduate, were expelled from the university in May. What a dumb way to lose your opportunity. At McNeese State University in September of 2006, the sorority was found guilty of severely hazing pledges. 11 members involved were each fined $1,000, and the chapter was fined $1,000 by the sorority's headquarters. The university banned the sorority from campus for 4 years. At the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, April 2009, one Delta was arrested on 2 accounts of simple battery, and several others Deltas were disciplined for the physical and mental abuse of pledges. One pledge was admitted to the hospital due to internal bleeding and stomach pain she developed because of physical abuse by members of the sorority. At Northern Kentucky University in 2009, the chapter was suspended from campus for beating 3 pledges repeatedly and severely with paddles. Well, my damn. At the University of Tampa in 2010, 3 high-ranking Deltas of the university chapters had a complaint filed against them by the university in a circuit court for hazing pledges. These 3 Deltas forced pledges to run long distance, do push-ups, squats, eat garlic wrap and big red gum, and drink hot sauce, hold a match between their fingers while reciting a pledge, had rocks and grass thrown at them and paddled them. The Deltas accused of hazing filed a petition against the university, stating that they were unfairly targeted as Black women because all white fraternities on campus engaged in similar hazing rituals, including tasering pledges, but were collectively sanctioned and given probation for 1 semester. The Hillsborough County Circuit Court dismissed their petition, stating that the university was not at fault. Well, At East Carolina University, November 2010, Delta pledges Victoria Carter and Breonna Gaither died in a traffic accident around 6:30 a.m. on the way to a hair appointment that had been set up to prepare for initiation. Gaither and Carter had undergone a number of grueling hazing activities that week, including the Delta TV, in which the pledges were forced to get into and push and hold a push-up position. Oh my goodness. Do wall sits and maintain that stance for a long period of time, and do the Delta chair, standing on one leg and holding heavy bricks on their heads. The pledge also wore Delta lipstick, hot sauce rubbed on their lips, and ate a Delta apple, a large raw onion. They were also asked to eat large amount of cottage cheese and drink buttermilk. The driver of the vehicle, a fellow pledge who survived, plead guilty to misdemeanor death by motor vehicle. According to the lawsuit filed by the family, she was suffering from excessive and overwhelming fatigue, exhaustion, and sleep deprivation, and fell asleep behind the wheel due to the pledging exercise. The night and morning hours prior to the accident, the pledges had been practicing the probate death march, and aspect of initiation ceremony. They did not have the opportunity to sleep as a result of the long hours of practice. Members of the sorority were also accused of lying, attempting to destroy all evidence of hazing throughout the investigation process in the lawsuit filed. All right, so in 2010, the sorority was banned from Winston-Salem State University for 10 years following a hazing investigation. However, the suspension was lifted 5 years after the initial ruling. The sorority was previously suspended for endangering pledges and other hazing activity. Oh, and in 2011, Emory University suspended Delta Sigma Theta for 4 years due to hazing violation. And I'm going to skip. All right, so at Florida A&M University in 2013, it was anonymously reported a Delta pledge lost conscious one night after being forced to do squats for a long period of time. Women pledging were physically and verbally punished if any forgot information they were asked to remember about each of their 54 line sisters. Members of the sorority initially denied all hazing allegations, but a thorough investigation led to the sorority being placed on suspicion until at least June of 2016, and the 2013 pledge line was dropped. Well, goddamn, Ohio State University in 2013, the university banned Delta Sigma Theta from campus until at least fall of 2016. The sorority was found guilty of hazing and violating the university code of conduct. All right. So, and the chapter at Louisiana State University was banned from campus for several years, ending in July 2019 for repeating hazing violation and putting eggs, whipped cream, and syrup in a pledge's hair. Delta Sigma Theta is the first and only sorority ever to be banned from the LSU campus. The banning of fraternities is common. All right, so Sorority Sister TV show. This is a reality show that they were supposed to have, but it was banned, unfortunately. So in December of 2014, VH1 debuted a reality show named Sorority Sisters that followed the personal and professional lives of several alumni, members of National Pan-Hellenic Council sororities in Atlanta, Georgia. 5 members of the cast were Deltas that complained about the death threats and harassment they received from some Deltas who were displeased with their appearance on the show. Damn. In January of 2015, the highest leadership of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporation expelled the 5 cast members from the sorority without consulting with them first. The expelled members maintained their innocence and felt like they were mistreated by their former sorority. The Delta cast members were the only cast members that had their sorority membership permanently revoked. 2 cast members of Alpha Kappa Alpha had their membership temporarily suspended. Cast members having Zeta Phi Beta or Sigma Gamma Rho membership never had them jeopardized. The show was canceled before the last 3 scheduled episodes aired. In January of 2018, one of the expelled members filed a lawsuit against Delta Sigma Theta Incorporation. In her lawsuits, it states the sorority never reprimanded members that can be traced publicly harassing her and send death threats, never expelled a celebrity sorority member who starred in a similar show on VH1. She never claimed on the show to represent sorority, and she lost many paid opportunities due to the sorority involvement in validifying the show and getting it canceled. As the plaintiff in the lawsuit, she is seeking to be compensated for lost wages and for mental and emotional distress. All right. So anyways, this is all the information. So going down here throughout the 2013, Delta Sigma Theta was honored in many ways by outside individuals and organizations, including being highlighted in a Walmart commercial, being honored by an NBA team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, being featured in large national periodicals and various news channels, including CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Washington Post, among others, their accomplishment were praised by national leaders such as Attorney General and Delta husband Eric Holder, who state, "As I look around this crowd today, I'm certain that if you continue to hold fast to the values, the ideas, and the extraordinary history that have been entrusted to you, then yours will be a future defined by continued progress and limitless possibilities." And former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who stated, "Delta mean change, and Deltas are called to serve. Wherever you see women advancing, you see Deltas." Both the American and Canadian Falls in Niagara Falls on February 22nd, 2013, and the White House on January 13, 2013, were illuminated with red lights in honor of sorority centennial celebration, and President Barack Obama invited Delta leadership to the White House and personally addressed them in the Oval Office. President Obama also addressed attendees via video at the Centennial Celebration closing gala. And Andrew Reckon Memorial Chapel on the campus of Howard University, a Delta Sigma Theta themed window was dedicated to the sorority. In addition, on August 28, 2013, members of Delta Sigma Theta participated in the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. All right. So here's more information at the bottom. Here's the reference. And the external link is at the very bottom. All right. All right, so that's it. And also, here's a book. So here's a book that deals with the life and organization of, or gets into more history about the Delta Sigma Theta. It's called In Search of Sisterhood, Delta Sigma Theta, and the Challenges of the Black Sorority Movement by Paula Giddings. All right, so you can find it at archive.org. If you want to look at more information, you can find it right here at archive.org. In Search of Anyways, so that was the name of the book if you want to find out more information. All right, so anyways, with that being said, I am out, and I hope everybody have a good one. Until next time, I'll reconnect. All right, peace, and happy Founders Day to all the Delta Sigma Thetas. I hope everybody be safe during this COVID, and that's that. All right, then.